Привет, друзья! Welcome back to Be Fluent in Russian podcast. My name is Fedor. Today, let's talk about something. Today we have a text that will describe a famous Russian person. We are continuing our series of Russian culture, in a way, by learning about people that influence the culture and at the same time learning the language. Today we have Valentina Tereshkova. I won't talk about who she is, what she did, because it's going to be all in the text. I will read this text slowly, just kind of at my natural tempo, but not really slowing down, or I will try to read it as naturally as I can, so you guys can get a more realistic view of it, more real, I guess, how a regular person would sound. So, yeah, let's get right into this. And in fact, before we do it, I would recommend for these audio podcasts and for other things that you are listening to, try to focus on one thing. So before you go into any podcast, don't go mindlessly. Okay, I will learn some Russian. That's too general. Learn with an idea of, I will try to train my listening today. What does that mean? That means just listening to the words, trying to pick out what was said. In other words, I guess it's like this. If you hear a sentence, I'll just get a random sentence that's the first one here. В июне 1963 года Валентина Терешкова стала первой женщиной, которая полетела в космос. So, if you're just training your ear, then your goal should be to understand every word that was said. Not the meaning of the word, but what word was said. Let's say, в июне 1963 года. В is, you hear the v and июня, so you know that v is separate from июня. It's not one word. So you kind of layer your understanding of vocabulary on top of your listening. I mean, I guess you cannot expect yourself to hear something that you don't know yet and understand it, so it has to be a balance between the two. So, when you train your ear, your goal is to simply pick out individual words from this mass of text. And if you can do that successfully, then that's good. You're training your ear. Now, if your focus is not to train your ear, but it's to, let's say, go for the understanding of the text, then instead of picking out individual words, what you have to do is you have to form the meaning. What was said? What was this sentence about? What was this passage about? What was this word about? So you will go for more of that understanding versus training your ear. But now let's get right into this, and I'll read the text like I said first, and then ask 3 crucial questions about this text to see if you understood it or not. Here we go. В июне 1963 года Валентина Терешкова стала первой женщиной, которая полетела в космос. Ее полет был очень важным для Советского Союза и всего мира. Все гордились ею и думали, что полет прошел отлично. Но на самом деле все было не так просто. С самого начала Валентине стало плохо. В космосе была невесомость, и ее тело не привыкло к этому. Она почувствовала сильную тошноту и головокружение. Терешковой было трудно двигаться, а иногда даже думать. Она могла сообщить об этом на Землю, и тогда врачи решили бы вернуть ее обратно раньше. Но Валентина решила молчать. Она не сказала никому о том, как ей плохо, потому что боялась, что ее полет прекратят. Ей очень хотелось завершить свою важную миссию до конца. Каждый раз, когда она говорила с Землей, она делала вид, что все в порядке. Но на самом деле ей приходилось терпеть и бороться с плохим самочувствием самостоятельно. когда Валентина вернулась на Землю, она рассказала врачам правду о своем состоянии. Руководители попросили ее никогда не рассказывать об этом другим людям. Они хотели, чтобы все думали, что полет был идеальным. Только спустя много лет Валентина решила рассказать всем правду. Сейчас мы знаем, что ее полет был еще труднее, чем казалось. История Терешковой учит нас тому, что иногда героизм — это не только великие поступки, но и умение терпеть и преодолевать трудности. That is all. Now, 3 questions, and then we're going to break down this text. First, who was Valentina Tereshkova? What was her occupation? Okay, number 2. What did Tereshkova hide from everyone? And 3, when and why did she decide to tell the truth? Okay, as we will break down this text, you will see the answers in the text. So the first sentence just sets the premise of this text. В июне 1963 года, in June of 1963, Валентина Терешкова, that's her name, first and last, стала первой женщиной, became the first woman, которая полетела в космос. Who flew to the space. We don't say who went to space, we say who flew to space. Ее полет был очень важным для Советского Союза и всего мира. Her flight was very important for the Soviet Union. Для Советского Союза means for the Soviet Union. И всего мира, and for the whole world. Все гордились ею и думали. Everybody was proud of her and thought. So, все гордились ею. Everybody was proud of her. И думали, and thought, что полет прошел отлично. That the flight went well, or great. Полет прошел. The flight has happened. The flight has passed. Went. Но на самом деле все было не так просто. But in reality, not everything was not so simple. На самом деле means in reality or in actuality. Не так просто, not so simple. So, на самом деле все было не так просто. In actuality or in reality, everything was not so simple. С самого начала Валентине стало плохо. From the very beginning, Valentina felt bad. So, in English, we say, I feel bad. She feels bad. In Russian, we have this phrase, стать плохо, to become bad. But not like the person becomes bad, because we have dative case. Валентине стало плохо. Not that she herself turned bad, but it was bad to her. Something was happening to her that made her feel bad. So we have a bit of a different phrase construction here, and this is one way that you will have to work on your Russian logic as you're studying Russian. So if you want to say, I feel bad, put whoever feels bad in dative case, in this sentence, Валентине, and then say, стало плохо. В космосе была невесомость. In space there was weightlessness, or zero gravity. И ее тело не привыкло к этому, and her body was not used to that. Не привыкла, was not used, or didn't get used to something. Она почувствовала сильную тошноту и головокружение. She felt very nauseous and dizzy. So она почувствовала, she felt, сильную тошноту, like severe or bad nausea, and головокружение, like if you break down the stem, it would mean head spinning or dizziness. Терешковой было трудно двигаться. It was hard for Tereshkova to move. Двигаться here means to move. А иногда даже думать. And sometimes even to think was difficult. So, these two words, иногда and даже. Great words. Иногда means sometimes, and даже means even. These are the two words that are common in conversations, and so I really urge all of you guys to check it out and also to use it in your own sentences. Иногда, sometimes, даже even. Она могла сообщить об этом на Землю. She could have informed about this to Earth. meaning people who were working from Earth, helping her out. И тогда врачи решили бы вернуть ее обратно раньше. And then the doctors would have decided to bring her back earlier. Вернуть ее обратно. To bring her back. Но Валентина решила молчать. But Valentina decided to stay quiet. Молчать means to stay silent, and not in the sense of not making noise. In the sense of not speaking. Молчать. Она не сказала никому о том, she didn't tell anyone about как ей плохо, how bad she felt. Потому что боялась, because she was afraid, что ее полет прекратят, that her flight would be stopped. So we have this double negative. Она не сказала никому. She didn't tell to anyone. In English we have anyone, in Russian we have no one. She didn't tell to no one. Ей очень хотелось завершить свою важную миссию до конца. She wanted badly to finish her important mission until the end. До конца means until the end. Каждый раз, every time, когда она говорила с землей, when she spoke to earth, она делала вид. She made it seem like. She made a image. Делать вид means to create an image or to act or to pretend. Что все в порядке, that everything is in order. Но на самом деле ей приходилось терпеть и бороться с плохим самочувствием самостоятельно. Okay. Но на самом деле, but in actuality, but in reality. Ей приходилось терпеть. She had to endure. Приходилось means, приходится means to, that you are obligated, that you have to do something. И бороться с плохим самочувствием. And to fight with the bad feeling or bad self-feeling when you feel something inside, like your health. Самостоятельно, by yourself. Когда Валентина вернулась на Землю, when Valentina returned to Earth, она рассказала врачам правду о своем состоянии. She told the truth to the doctors about her well-being. Рассказать means to tell. When it's not something like when you're not just talking, when you're not saying something, but you're telling something, like a big story. Так, состояние is well-being or being. Руководители попросили ее никогда не рассказывать об этом другим людям. The management or the people who are above her asked her to never tell anyone about this at all. Никогда не рассказывать, to never tell. Попросили, asked. Они хотели, they wanted, чтобы все думали, for everybody to think, что полет был идеальным, that the flight was ideal or perfect. Только спустя много лет, only after many years, спустя means only after many years have passed. Валентина решила рассказать всем правду. Valentina decided to tell everybody the truth. I guess спустя много лет, meaning only after the USSR collapsed. Because those who were telling her not to tell anyone anything would probably be the people from the state, kind of keeping up this image of everything is perfect, everything is going good. So yeah. Сейчас мы знаем, now we know, что ее полет был еще труднее, that her flight was even more difficult, чем казалось, than it seemed. История Терешковой учит нас, the story of Tereshkova teaches us, тому, что иногда героизм, that sometimes heroism or bravery, это не только великие поступки, it's not just grand actions, но и умение терпеть, but the ability to tolerate or to endure, и преодолевать трудности, and to overcome difficulty. So yeah, that's that. Hope you have all your questions answered with this breakdown. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself and you've learned something from this podcast. See you all next time. And join our Befluent Camp, by the way. We are starting in about 2 weeks from the release date of this podcast. So join us and learn Russian and learn to speak Russian better. Check it out with the link in the description. Пока-пока.